Essex made a good start to their latest LV County Championship game with Gloucestershire in Chelmsford as David Masters and Rhys Topley both took early wickets to put their side in control in spite of some late order resistance from the visitors. In spite of clear skies, James Foster had no hesitation in bowling first after winning the toss, and Masters rewarded that decision by finding the edge of Will Tavares' bat with the third ball of the match. Masters was well backed up by Topley, who, with his 8th delivery, gave Foster his second catch to remove Chris Dent, both Gloucestershire openers out with just 10 runs on the board. And it was soon 17 for 3 as Hamish Marshall slashed a wide ball from Topley into the hands of Nick Brown at point. Masters then switched ends to have Ian Cobain caught behind, a wicket which left the visitors in trouble on 37 for 4. Brothers Gidman then took the total to 56, only for Alex on 22 to give Masters his 3rd wicket and Foster his 4th catch, all in the opening 75 minutes of the game. Will Gidman was then out to Topley as Gloucestershire slipped to 56 for 6. Adam Rouse making just his 2nd championship appearance and his 1st on trial at Gloucestershire, along with Tom Smith, carefully batted through until lunch, while the afternoon session was washed out for the exception of 9 deliveries. Back on after an early tea, Topley and Foster combined yet again as Rouse was out for 28. That wicket fell just after the 100 had been brought up, and 23 runs later, Topley struck again by bowling Smith for 17. That gave the left-armer his 2nd 5-wicket haul in just 3 championship matches this summer. Oddly, the visitors were playing 2 sets of brothers, the others being the Taylors. This was Jack's 1st championship match of the summer, and he batted as well as anyone, taking the attack back to the Essex bowlers. Indeed, he smashed 7 fours in a score of 40, which was made off only 35 balls. He then came down the wicket to Masters, trying to slog him out of the ground, only to give Foster yet another catch. So now, in just the 44th over of the contest, Gloucestershire were 9 down with 158 runs on the board, and it was left to the younger Taylor, Matt, and David Payne to try to eke out as many runs as possible on this 2-toned pitch. They played some gorgeous shots. Gloucestershire seemed to have come into this game in a one-day mode. This kind of shot from Payne was typical of some of the strokes that were played throughout the innings. For the top order, that didn't work, but it certainly did for the last pair. Payne brought up his side's 200 with this shot, a total that had looked very unlikely earlier on in the day. With Topley and Masters out of the attack, batting did become a little easier, and the younger Taylor was able to match the highest score of his career of 26. He left Payne, who'd also impressed, just 2 runs shy of what would have been just his 2nd first-class 50, when Taylor edged the returning Graham Napier to Jesse Ryder, but the last wicket had registered 66 runs to take the final total to a more respectable 224. Within that, Foster took 6 catches, Topley claimed figures of 5 for 53 and Masters 4 for 67. Essex will certainly have been disappointed to let their opponents off the hook, having had them on 56 for 6 at one stage, but it would still be their day if Tom Wesley and Brown could get through the 19 overs that were left in the day unscathed. Not only did they do that, but they also knocked off 75 runs, with Wesley looking in good touch in particular. Brown is just trying to make a name for himself in this Essex team, and he played his part too in an opening partnership which will encourage the home side and their followers. With lots of batting still to come, of course, Essex will be looking to get themselves well ahead on the 2nd day. They will go into that on 75 without loss, which means that they are 149 runs behind with all of their first innings wickets intact. Gloucestershire will hope for an early breakthrough on the 2nd morning, but for now they have work to do to balance this contest up.